Your art is not good. Also, your art is not good for us. Really? I know why they do it. They're not talking about your art. They're talking about themselves. Yeah, I have too many unfinished paintings and drawings in my studio. They're like little ghosts hiding everywhere. And actually, yesterday I was sorting through some of my old stuff and I found this drawing I never finished. It was supposed to be a beautiful experiment on charcoal with gold leaf. Well, it was supposed to be charcoal. Now when I look at it, on screen it looks even better, actually. Yeah, so it was supposed to be an experiment on charcoal and gold leaf. And I stopped because I probably started criticizing myself. I'll show you my gold leaf. They're so beautiful. Look, this one is broken, but this one. Oh. Yeah. And actually, I never used gold leaf on paper, and I never used charcoal and gold leaf together. Never ever does, I think. And for gold leaf, I'll be using this medium. I don't know if you know it. Let me know if you ever worked with it. So, sorry. Sorry, something's in my nose. And yeah, actually, I was going to tell you 4 stories, and they're all about criticism, and not just criticism, not constructive criticism, but criticism as disapproval, when people reject you, not you personally, but your art. So the first story is about this friend of mine. He is an expat in France and Provence. Yeah, I know, beautiful. And when I think he's watching me right now, and he's probably saying, "I'm going to destroy you." First come to Amsterdam, then we'll talk. So this friend of mine, he moved to France with his husband, and they built this beautiful life. And he started creating things. You know, he started working with ceramics and with jewelry, very gallery level, high art pieces, and I like them. But his husband was never supportive, and he was always disapproving, and he looked down at him. And, you know, some people don't even have to say things. You know what they think. And I don't know what's easier, to hear the words or to hear the silence. Yeah, it was really like the silent campaign against the creativity in general. So to make the long story short, they're not together anymore. Well, not because just of that. My friend was very devastated and broken, really. He was visiting Amsterdam recently, and we met. And when what broke my heart was to hear him say that he still has that scar in him. You know, that those words, that disapproval, he's not creating anymore. He's not making ceramics anymore. Yeah. The next story is about me, and I have to make it short, you know, because let's talk about them, not about me. I'm just kidding. I was going to this church on a regular basis, a Catholic church, and I thought, okay, art, church, all comes together. I'm an artist. I should offer an exhibition, a pop-up exhibition for Easter. And I did, actually. I spoke with a priest. The priest is, cool, yeah, let's do it. Let's just talk with a church board first. So we're meeting with this church board, and they're looking at my portfolio, and one of the guys is looking me in the eye and saying, your art is dirty. It's very salacious. I'm like, okay, dirty and salacious. Why do I attract people with opinions like this? One is calling me a snob. The other one is saying my art is dirty. What's going on, really? And I'm like, okay, so I'm still processing it. I'm on a way to be healed, I guess. But what I'm saying is, the longer I was thinking about those words, the more they were growing in my head. The third story is about this very young girl, and she came to Florence, to my art school, to study art, to learn how to paint and draw, because she was starting literally from zero. She knew nothing. And she progressed a lot. The thing is that, you know, no matter how hard she tried, her personality came through. And everybody thought she's a bit strange, weird, and they would laugh at her. Yeah, they would laugh about her painting style behind her back. Not just students, professors too. She knew it. She knew that they're laughing at her. She knew all the things they were saying about her painting. And we were never friends, but we kind of liked each other. And so she moved her easel next to mine. And I noticed a very strange thing. Every time she would start a new project, setting up a composition with a painting or with drawing, with grading or whatever, she would look at me and she would say, Dimitri, it's bad, right? It was not even a question. It was a, you know, like, very serious statement. Everything I do is bad because they believe it's bad, and now she believes it too. And by saying this, she doesn't give them a chance to laugh at her. She's laughing at herself now. And yeah, I don't know where she is right now, but yeah, I hope she's doing great, because her style and her technique, they were not bad, they were unique. And that's a difference. The first story is about another friend of mine, and she's Dutch. That story is really messed up. My friend was working in a profession that has nothing to do with art, let's say, and when she turned 50, she decided, okay, I want to, stop working in that profession and become a full-time artist. Actually, that's a very interesting topic. Being a full-time artist versus being part-time artist. And yeah, maybe I should cover it in one of my following videos. So subscribe. And let me know what you think about it too. Full-time, what is better, full-time or part-time? And yeah, so anyway, this friend of mine, she decided, okay, I'll go study art professionally. And she went to this very progressive art academy in Amsterdam, near my house. They're famous for their conceptual art, very abstract. And that's what she felt comfortable with. That's what she wanted to learn. So she went there, and they look at her portfolio and they go like, no, we cannot start working with this. You have no technique. No, it's not good. She's like, okay. She went to Florence, the cradle of all art, and she studied art. She learned how to paint and draw. She learned Renaissance and Baroque technique. She's good. Now she's coming back to this academy again because, some people are very persistent, I would say. She goes to this academy. She shows them her current portfolio. They look at it and they say, no, you're not good for us anymore. Because you have the technique. We don't know what to do with this technique, You have lack of technique, you're not good. You have the technique, you're not good. So, and then when she told me this story, I kind of like, you know what? The problem is not her. The problem is that institution that rejected her. When it comes to rejection or disapproval, it's never about your art. And it's never about your person. And if you're disagreeing with me, be ready to write an angry comment, and I read them all, actually, and I appreciate every comment. So, every judgment comes from somewhere, from someone's fears, ambitions, taste, education, whatever. And every criticism, and I'm not talking about constructive criticism, I'm talking about this destructive criticism, the rejection, the disapproval. Every criticism tells about the critic as much as it tells about art itself. Because with this negativity, with this negative criticism, they reveal more about themselves and their values than about your art. And I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist or psychologist here. I'm not trying to give you a professional advice. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just an artist who tries to figure out what's going on with our rejection and criticism, So look at it this way. Each person who rejects your art or says your art is bad, this person, those words, they come from two places in a person's head. Yeah, I think I am a psychologist. No. When someone's rejecting your art, and this will happen, if it never happened before, people will reject your art, just give it some time, live a bit longer. If people will reject your art, they will say, no, your art is just bad. We don't want it. You're not good for us. Think about it this way. First, this person might be talking out of his own perspective. I'm not saying that criticism is always a projection, but often it is. So they might just project their own fears, hopes, dreams, desires, ambitions, everything onto your art. If they're afraid of, they're struggling with this dirty mind, they might see dirtiness in anything, even in a flower painting, The other thing is that they come from an institution, from this art academy or from this church, and they have to follow and protect those rules of that institution. So of course that person will say something, what is not appropriate for the rules of that institution. Lack of technique, not good for that art academy. Too much of technique, not good for academy. They need something, I would say mediocre, to shape that mediocre into something they want to have as a result, as an end product. There's always a lens between a person who is looking at your art and giving a judgment and your art. And what is this lens? That lens is exactly that personal projection and that institutional foundation. Always. So next time somebody's calling my art dirty, I know that this person is either A, struggling with a dirty mind themselves, or B, just protecting the foundation, the rules this person is supposed to protect. And this gives me so much, I don't know, this is very liberating actually. And what kind of flattered me? It's that Caravaggio's art was called bad, dirty, and salacious 500 years ago. And now, centuries after, somebody's calling my art salacious, dirty, and inappropriate. So flattered. Really. Such a good feeling. And I like comparing many things to a food or languages. Let's say we're cooking a soup again. I know, that's soup. And somebody walks into the kitchen and they taste the soup and they say, oh, it's too salty. And they leave. They're gone. And you stay there and you try to taste the soup and you're like, is it really too salty? And you don't know anymore. What's the standard? What's this ideal condition of saltiness of the soup? Nobody knows, and you're standing there. This person is gone, and you're standing there, and every single soup you will be making after this one, you will be thinking about that. Is it too salty or not? This is exactly what disapproval does. This is how it stays in our head. And if we learn to say, what I'm trying to learn right now, that's that person's opinion. It shouldn't be bothering me. It's how they see the world because they have their reasons. That's actually what I like about Dutch mentality. If you don't understand something in people's behavior or whatever, they have their reason. And I wonder if some of you might have been in situations like this, and how have you dealt with these situations, Because I'm still kind of processing that negativity from the church. I didn't expect this, really. So if you have your tips and tricks on how to deal with negativity and this negative criticism, please write a comment. I really want to know, because it will help me and many others too. And the ugliest thing about all that criticism is that it's all easy to say, and I can laugh on camera, but when it comes to dealing with it, it's not easy. I know. And if I will tell my friend today, that friend in France, that, it's so not important what he was saying, your ex-husband, what he was saying, keep doing what you were doing, keep creating what you were, it would be so not honest. It would be so disrespectful and insulting to him because, it's kind of like saying that it's all not real. Your wounds, they're not real, but they are. And they do hurt. I know it. All I can say is that if you're in the situation when you feel like you cannot make art anymore because you're so hurt and you're doubting your artistic skill, if you cannot make it today, you can start making it when you feel ready. And I believe it's good to understand that this voice that you're still hearing, that, you're not good at what you're doing, then it's not your voice, because your art, what you're creating, that didn't change. You're just looking at it with his eyes, not with yours anymore. And when you're looking at it, you're hearing his voice, not yours anymore. That's all I'm saying. And I think it is not easy to deal with this, but I think it's possible. I hope it's possible, because I have too many voices in my head to deal with. It's true. Yeah, and there's one more thing I want to add, that I don't know what was the deal with this ex-husband of my friend. It was probably something very personal, and he has to deal with his personal values. I don't know. That's his deal. I'm not touching that. But in case of this art school, art academy, and the church, these are institutions, and people who rejected our art or our technique or us personally, they were representing those institutions. And the cool thing is that the institution has never the last word to say. Look at what happened to Caravaggio. The church that rejected him for painting inappropriate things with inappropriate models, on a holy subject. Now I think this church would love to have one of the paintings by Caravaggio on its premises to attract more tourists. So the institution has never the last word. Art has the last word. And the critics, those negative critics, they never have the last word. Your art has the last word. Always. Yeah? Yeah, this is what I think of criticism and negativity and disapproval. And let me know if you approve or disapprove my message. My name is Dimitri Ross. I'm a figurative artist in Amsterdam. And I hope to see you in the next one. Okay? Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye. I do sound very optimistic. Even though I'm not. No, I am, but I'm not. But I am, because my partner, he might not understand certain things. He's not negative about it. He's always happy when I sell things. Yeah.